Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ken with the Aviation Podcast. We want to talk about all things aviation. Where are we going to start, as always, with the FAA. Let's get into it. Heading over to the FAA's website, to their newsroom, a couple of news articles jump out at me. Some things that maybe are a little more of interest than others. Join me. Let's take a look. Let's see what the newsroom of the FAA has to offer. Now, one thing that I am aware of is that recently there's been a lot of discussion on how the FAA is looking to provide a little more safety measures or to encourage more safety measures throughout the industry, no matter what type of aviator you are. That's what they're looking to do. Well, recently we spoke of the FAA sending out a safety bulletin, a bulletin that is to address some of the issues we've been having. Well, this right over here from the FAA issued this notice of a limited waiver on March the 22nd. So not that long ago. So we wanted to take a look at this, and there was a particular point in the news article, or in this waiver here, that we wanted to discuss. Now, what this is referring to, it says, staffing related relief concerning operations at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport, JFK or John F. Kennedy International Airport, LaGuardia Airport, and Newark Liberty International Airport. And they want this limited waiver. They want this to go from May 15th of this year, 2023, until September 15th of 2023. So they're trying to have this go through the summer season, the busiest time of the year. And essentially, what they're asking here is that the carriers, the airlines themselves, they want them to voluntarily submit or give up 10% of their slots to those airports in order to relieve some of the congestion. Let me see here. Some of the staffing issues at John F. Kennedy at the New York Terminal Radar Approach Control TRACON facility in November 90, having some staffing issues up there. So this notice announces a limited conditional waiver of the minimum usage requirement that applies to operating authorizations or slots at those following airports. It says here that the carriers will be permitted to voluntarily turn in up to 10% of their slots held at JFK and LGA, as well as impacted slots at DCA for the period between May 15th and September 15th through the busy seasons. Okay, interesting that they're asking the carriers to give up 10% of their slots in those airports due to the staffing issues at those facilities. An interesting concept, an interesting idea. Well, the staffing issues, well, how bad is it? We talk about staffing issues. Are you out a couple of people? Well, the background here gives us a little insight about, let's see here, it says, the New York Terminal Radar Approach Control Facility, or N90, provides ATC services to overhead flights in the Northeast Corridor and to the New York airports, JFK, LGA, EWR. The airspace complexity resulting from the close proximity of the major commercial airports serving this New York area, this New York region, is a significant contributing factor to the delays of the airports, for those carriers. And what they've found is that against this already challenging backdrop, according to the FAA data, nationwide certified professional controller staffing averages are around 81% of what they would consider 100% staffed. They're running about 81% staffed on a national average, while in 90 in the New York area is maintained at about 54% of its CPC staffing target. Wow. So that's not a few people. That's pretty much half your staff is gone, non-existent. Interesting. If there's anybody who might want to share with us in the comments, is there any air traffic controllers out there? And you don't necessarily have to be from the New York area. Any air traffic controllers, please comment, let us know. What do you think about this? Is this the right move? Is there a direction we could go? And if there is anybody who's familiar with the New York area and the New York air traffic control facilities, please comment. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you to see what is happening up there. I mean, is it hiring? Is it poor management? I mean, what may be, you think, the root of this issue? Because clearly this has affected the airlines, the airports. This affects a lot of people. A lot of working folks are now going to see a 10% decrease, up to 10% decrease across the board from all the airlines. At least that's what's being suggested here from the FAA. So, and speaking of having air traffic control issues, now I may jump around to countries every now and then, other countries other than the U.S., and this article showed up, and I did want to share it. Over here at Simple Flying, they happen to have an article that was worth bringing into the show here. It says, Ryanair calls out the EU Commission president over continued French ATC strikes. Wow. So first off, Ryanair calls out the EU Commission president. Well done. And this is over air traffic control strikes in France. Interesting. Now, I would think that's probably more of 100% are off work right now. Maybe there's a few. Is there anybody going overseas, anybody traveling overseas, want to let us know what's going on over there? There's a strike. It's affecting all of the EU's flights right now. So seems to be a pretty big issue. Anyhow, just wanted to share that. We are not the only ones with air traffic control issues at the moment. Now, staying on that line of air traffic control, well, let's talk a little bit about towers. We spoke on towers on our last video. And some of these articles popped up from AIN online that I wanted to share. Now, like most of these, or all of these, nobody is a contributor to this site, but we wanted to share the news articles with you because some of these news articles are, well, they're worth sharing. Like these two from AIN online. This first one states, NBAA, the NBAA asks the FAA to continue remote tower ops at Leesburg. And this article came out April 10th, so not long ago. The NBAA appealed to the FAA to continue remote tower operations at Leesburg Executive in Virginia. All right. Essentially what this program is, they don't have a fully functioning tower, and so there's been a remote tower set up. Now, this remote tower was set up among other things. It was set up with Saab under a program from the FAA to establish remote towers at airports that don't already have towers in efforts to build situational awareness, collect data, so on, build safety cases, that kind of thing. Well, it turns out that the FAA is going to discontinue use of this particular Saab system at the Leesburg Airport, and they're going to discontinue use in June. It's been running for a few years. It's been collecting data. It's been helping the overall situational awareness. And for those of you who do not know where Leesburg is, I'll jump over to a sectional real quick to show you. Leesburg is just up here, just on the north side of Dulles. So it's in a pretty busy area, to say the least. Well, and you know, if you want air traffic controllers to be able to get a complete picture of what's going on out there so they can provide safety, separation, so on, then we would like systems like this. Well, let's read on. It says, over the past 8 years, Leesburg Airport has used a system that would relay operations data captured via cameras and other technologies to a remote tower center located outside the airport. However, the FAA has opted to discontinue its use in June. Well, apparently, CEO and president of NBAA, Mr. Ed Bolin, has maintained that the Saab-developed remote tower system has provided both safety and cost benefits. He noted multiple risk assessments have only demonstrated safety enhancements for both local and interim operations, and that the FAA in September of 2021 issued an operational viability decision to continue with Saab remote tower system, with the Saab remote tower systems. Essentially, it looks like this remote tower is going to be removed in June. Is it going to be replaced? We'll see. And replaced by what? Or is it just going to be removed? It looks like NBAA is not a fan of this remote tower system being removed in June or being discontinued in June. And I would imagine the airport, Leesburg, the rest of the folks at Leesburg would probably be upset that this system is leaving. It's a system to help the safety of the operations. It's a system to help the air traffic controllers. Why would we get rid of something like that? Well, who knows? It's also a shame because it seems like there was a little bit of money put into this system. We go over to this other article. It talks about the Colorado airport's remote tower could be removed in the near future. This article, so the first article I discussed came out on the 10th, and the next article on the 11th, the very next day. So it looks like the let's see here. Colorado Department of Transportation aims to keep this remote tower at the Northern Colorado Regional Airport, although it seems like the FAA is not keen on leaving it there. It says toward the end of the article, oh no, here we go. This part stuck out for me. This was a quote here by Bill Payne. He says, "We will be able to save it if Sea Ridge can provide the required system design, approval documents, and the FAA support that this particular system needs." Sea Ridge Technologies being the supplying the remote tower. That's who's is actually providing the equipment. It says Sea Ridge replaced some 1,040 HD cameras and displays at the airport, and they did it with 4K models to meet the new requirements. But now the FAA wants remote tower systems to be tested first at the FAA Technical Center over in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Meanwhile, Saab pulled out of the remote tower project at Virginia's Leesburg in the last month, and after 6 years of testing at this facility at Leesburg, 6 years of testing at Leesburg now, when the company concluded it could not finish the FAA certification process. So it looks like Saab has explained to the FAA, look, we're unable to complete this process. A process that they invested $8.8 million in. The FAA had invested this in. Bill Payne, who is managing the project for the Colorado Department of Transportation, stated that it will be a shame if the system does not complete the certification process after the state of Colorado has invested $8.8 million and the FAA did 4 years of testing there in Colorado. So there in Colorado, $8.8 million, and they could possibly be losing this. Again, are they going to replace it? Have they found that the SOB system is insufficient or not getting the right data, or perhaps just being a hindrance to safety? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe some of you know. Maybe some of you want to comment and tell us, what do you think is going on? Why are we replacing systems that could be helping us with the overall safety at the airport? Interesting. And if you go over to the Leesburg, Virginia website, you'll see that they are still advertising the Defense and Security Company SOB, the Virginia SATS Lab Incorporated, and the Leesburg Executive Airport partnering to demonstrate and evaluate the SOB remote tower technologies at Leesburg Executive Airport. So they still are advertising it there. Now, someone had mentioned, well, if you're going to remove this safety layer, essentially, you may have some of your clients, some of the people who normally go to the Leesburg Airport, maybe they'll go somewhere else. You know, they got used to using this remote tower. It was very helpful, but now they can't use this remote tower. Where would they go? Well, again, you look at that sectional, you see there's not a whole lot of places for them to go. Where are they going to go? Montgomery County, maybe up to Frederick Municipal, or south down here to Manassas. Maybe to Manassas. Now, I go over here to the Manassas website, and I look through the airport business directory at some of the folks who may be at that Manassas airport. And there's some pretty interesting folks on this list, but one that kind of stuck out was this one down here. Hey, Lados is on the list there at Manassas, and they, interestingly enough, are also in this remote tower game, it seems. Now, I had to do a little research, not much, to find out that this Terminal Flight Data Manager is an FAA program that, in fact, the program office awarded the contract to develop and implement this system to the prime vendor, Lados, and main subcontractor SOB, Census, in 2016. It looks like the SOB contract or the SOB system may be phasing out in some areas, while the Lados system, which is currently being operated, one of their applications are being operated at the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. So, do you think the SOB system is going to be replaced by this system? By the Lados system? Maybe. Let us know. Let us know what you think about all of that. Essentially, this Terminal Flight Data Manager, it is a way for there to be more situational awareness, which increases your safety for everybody involved, especially when you get to areas like New York that are so heavily trafficked. So, anyhow, there is some information about the FAA, about some of the towers we talked about in our last video. And we'll continue to share more information with you as we get it about what the FAA is up to, things around the national airspace, and information and news that all aviators can share. Okay, so let's jump over to something a little more interesting, a little more lighthearted. Now we find ourselves at General Aviation News as an article here on the SWAMP STOL competition kicking off the 2023 series. I would have loved to go to this. I did not get the time, did not schedule it. It was completely my fault, but this would have been an excellent event to go to. This stall competition, the SWAMP STOL. Look at that, the old bird dog. That is a nice looking plane. I don't care what anybody says. That's a good looking plane right there. Now, for myself, I have had some people reach out to me and they said, well, Ken, with all this stall, this short takeoff landing operations that you see here with these planes, did you happen to catch the Red Bull team landing an aircraft up on the Burj Hotel? Did I see it? Did I see Patty and their friends out there landing on? I did. It's not bad. It's interesting. I have seen some other things that Red Bull was involved in that weren't as interesting, I don't think. But for my money,
all right. So
I'll stick with the SWAMP STOL. I'll stick with some of the operators, some of the pilots we see at these events. This is what really gets me going. So, all right, folks, I wanted to leave you with some of this, the National STOL series up and running. Very interesting. If you get a chance, go over there, take a look at what they have going on. And I think Mr. Steve Henry comes up here in just a second. Hey, there we are. This is an interesting one here. What a takeoff. Wow. Impressive. All right, everybody, we've enjoyed it. We will be back with more videos. We're going to keep getting as much information out there to you as we can, again, about the FAA, the National Airspace, and all things aviation. All right, everyone, we've enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please share it with someone. Share it with a friend, maybe another aviator. If you have any comments or questions, or you just want to tell us what we should be really focused on, let us know. Until then, take care.